Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So today as part of this series, let us discuss the topics from 5th July 2025 where we are going to discuss about the outcome of the Indian Prime Minister visit to the TNT, that is Trinidad and Tobago, and second about the Nipah virus, and third about the OHCHR, that is the UN Human Rights Office, and fourth about the Girmitiyas, and finally Namibia country as part of the mapping series. So before going to the discussion, so Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy is offering a track weekly prelims test series based on the current affairs for the last 1 week. And this track weekly prelims test series is part of our Elevate Holistic Guidance Program 2026. And this track series is a free test for everyone. And this test will be conducted on every Saturday. So enroll by calling to this number 9000222737 and utilize this opportunity of writing the free test on every Saturday regarding the prelims current affairs so that you can be on your track with respect to your prelims and the current affairs preparation. And this track test is for 1 hour including the 50 MCQs. Really aligned with the recent changing trends of the UPSC prelims standard. So moving to our first topic, that is the outcome of the PM's visit to the TNT, that is the Trinidad and Tobago. So why we are discussing this? We already know that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his 5-nation tour, right? So as part of his 5-nation tour, he visited this Trinidad and Tobago from July 3rd to 4th. And we'll see what are the outcomes of this visit. So come first, before going to the outcome of this visit, let us discuss the significance of this visit. So, Narendra Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit this Trinidad and Tobago in the last 26 years. See, this is very, very important in showcasing our India's strength. And this visit also coincided with the 180th anniversary of the Indian immigrants' arrival to this Trinidad and Tobago. So on 30th May 1845, the Indian immigrants arrived to this Trinidad and Tobago. So this visit also coincided with the 180th anniversary of Indian arrivals to this Caribbean island. And there we all know that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has conferred with the nation's highest civilian honor. That is the Order of the Republic of the Trinidad and Tobago. And Indian Prime Minister is the first foreigner to receive or to confer this award, that is the Order of the Republic of the Trinidad and Tobago. So this is the significance of the visit of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to this Caribbean island, that is the Trinidad and Tobago. Now coming to the outcomes. This visit strengthened the India and Trinidad and Tobago strategic partnership. How? Through the signing of the Memorandum of Understandings on various sectors, that is pharmaceuticals, academics, sports, culture, and other diplomatic areas also. And the two sides of the leaders also reviewed or committed to the implementation of the second India CARICOM summit outcomes. So this second India CARICOM summit was held in the November 2024 and the first India CARICOM summit was held in the year 2019. And your homework today is to know what is this CARICOM. This is actually an intergovernmental organization consisting of some 21 member states. So you have to know what is this CARICOM and what are these 21 and which parts of the continents included in this CARICOM. And coming to the second outcome, that is the digital cooperation. So, the Trinidad and Tobago now become the first Caribbean nation to adopt the India's UPI, that is Unified Payments of India. And they also held on discussing the collaboration on the India Stack, e-sign, DigiLocker, and the land digitalization. And the third outcome is about the education and the skill development. Narendra Modi has promised the gift of 2,000 laptops for digital education for the students of the Trinidad and Tobago. And also, he promised to promote the Indian scholarships for the Trinidad and Tobago students. And also, there is a revival of the Hindi and the Indian studies chairs at the University of the West Indies. So this is about the education and the skill development outcomes. And coming to the agriculture and the food security, India gifted around 1 million agro machinery to the NAMDEVCO, that is the
National Agricultural Marketing and Development Corporation of the Trinidad and Tobago, and also promised to support in natural farming, millet and the seaweed fertilizers also. Remember the seaweed fertilizers also. Now moving to the other outcome, that is the healthcare diplomacy. The visit also strengthened the healthcare diplomacy. How the MOU was signed between India and the Trinidad and Tobago for the recognition of our Indian pharmacopoeia sector. And also,
the citizens of the Trinidad and Tobago will be given specialized treatment in India under Heal in India program. And also, India gifted 20 dialysis units, 2C ambulances and prosthetic limb camp for 800 individuals. That is given the medical equipment also to the Trinidad and Tobago. And coming to the cultural diplomacy, they also discussed to sign a memorandum of understanding to renew the cultural exchange program for the year 2025 and 2028. So this cultural exchange program was started in the year 1999 in the Trinidad and Tobago, and now they are going to renew this program also. And also, India promised to train the Pandits in the Trinidad and Tobago, also promised to celebrate the joint celebration of the Gita Mahotsav, that is the Bhagavad Gita on the Gita Jayanti, and also promised to promote the yoga and Hindi in the Trinidad and Tobago. And next about the diaspora and the OCI benefits. So, India also extended the OCI cards, Overseas Citizen of India cards, up to the 6th generation diaspora in this Trinidad and Tobago. Until now, the OCI cards are available only to the 4th generation diaspora, Indian diaspora on this Trinidad and Tobago. But with this visit, the India extended this OCI cards, Overseas Citizen cards, up to the 6th generation. So these are the outcomes of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi visit to the Trinidad and Tobago. And moving to a second topic, that is Nipah virus. So why we are discussing this? This Nipah virus has again resurfaced in Kerala by being reported the 2 new cases. So this Nipah virus is a NIV virus, which is a single-stranded, enclosed and the negative RNA virus. And this Nipah virus is a member of the Henipavirus genus. Henipavirus genus. And it is a zoonotic virus. That is, it transmits from animals to humans. So coming to the origin of this Nipah virus, the first outbreak of Nipah virus took in the year 1999 in the Malaysia. That is observed in the pigs. And then
in the year 2001, it also took its origin in the Bangladesh also. And coming to India, the same year 2001, the first Nipah outbreak was occurred in the Siliguri district of the West Bengal. And then in the year 2007 also, same outbreak occurred in the some district of the West Bengal only. And coming to the natural host, we all know that fruit bats of the family Pteropodidae is the natural host of this NIV virus, that is the Nipah virus. And coming to the symptoms of this virus, see, after exposure to this virus and an incubation period of 5 to 14 days, after the incubation period of 5 to 14 days only, the illness will present
with fever, headache and followed by other symptoms. The symptoms are, first, in a mild condition, fever and headache will occur. If the treatment is not given, then if the virus spreads, then it will occur in the stages of drowsiness and the disorientation. And in the severe stages, it will also lead to mental confusion, coma, and in extreme cases, it might be lead to potentially death also. So, is there any treatment for the Nipah virus? No, there is no specific treatment for the Nipah virus. The only available treatment is the intensive supportive care only. We have to take supportive care and we have to ensure that the virus do not spread to the other person, that is through isolation. And coming to the Nipah virus transmission, so
the natural host of this Nipah virus is a fruit bat, right? So from this fruit bat only the Nipah virus will get transferred. How? Through this bat's blood, urine or the saliva. If the blood, urine or saliva is taken by the pig, that is the animal, it was the first occurring pigs only, right? If the blood, urine or saliva is eaten by the pig or any other fruit. So the fruit, after the fruit is contaminated with this virus, then if the fruit or any other date palm juice is taken by the human, then it will transmit to the human. Then now it will spread to human. So from fruit bat through its blood, urine or saliva, the virus transmit to the animals or any fruits, and from this it transmits to the humans, and from human to other humans also. Now moving to a third topic, that is the OHCHR or the United Nations Human Rights. So why we are discussing this? Since weeks and months we have been witnessing in the news the humanitarian violations in the Gaza sector, right? So regarding that, this United Nations Human Rights Office said that it had recorded at least 613 killings within a span of a month. See, within a span of a month it recorded at least 613 killings, both the two at the 8 points run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and other humanitarian convoys run by the other relief groups including the United Nations. So this is a gross violation of the humanitarian or the human rights. So we'll see what is this United Nations Human Rights Office. So OHCHR means Office of the High Commissioner for the Human Rights. And this was formed based on the Vienna Declaration and the Program of the Action, which was adopted during the World Conference on Human Rights, which was held during the 12th to 14th June 1993, which based or promised to protect the human rights worldwide. So based on this declaration, on 28th December 1993, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution where it enacted or it established this office, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, or simply known as the UN Human Rights Office. So as a leading global United Nations agency to look after the human rights issues or to promote the human rights worldwide. And it is headquartered in the Geneva, Switzerland, and also headquartered in the New York, USA. And this Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights is a department under the United Nations Secretariat.
Now moving to a fourth topic, that is the Gharmitiyas. So why we are discussing this? The Prime Minister on his visit to the Trinidad and Tobago referred to the close cultural connection between the strong
Gharmitiya community between the Trinidad and Tobago and India, especially with the Bihar. So this Girmit, the word comes from that is the English word agreement. So it is an English word agreement. Girmit means English word agreement, and this Girmit comes from this agreement. That is the Indian corrupted word of this agreement. Corrupted word. Agreement became the Girmit in India. And these Girmitiyas are also known as the Jahajis. And this Jahajis means the people of the ship. That is a Persian word. Jahajis means the Persian word which means the people of the ship, or people coming to this area via the ships. And so who are these Girmitiyas? These are indentured laborers of British India who moved to Fiji, South Africa, Mauritius and the Caribbean islands, which included Trinidad and Tobago, British Suriname, Guyana and the Jamaica. So why the indentured laborers had to move to these Caribbean islands and the Mauritius, South Africa and the Fiji? So in the year 1807, the British India abolished the slave trade. And in the year 1833, the British enacted the abolition of the Slavery Act, thereby ending the slavery in its British colonies also. So, this Trinidad and Tobago and other these areas are fully dependent on these slaves only.
So these countries approached the indentured laborers in the British India. So to have an employment opportunity or the livelihood situations, the indentured laborers of this British India moved to this Fiji, South Africa, Mauritius, Caribbean, and they settled there. So whoever are settled during this
period are known as the Girmitiyas. Moving to the final topic, that is the Namibia. So why we are discussing this? We are discussing the countries which are going to be undertaken by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi as part of his 5-nation tour, right? So we discussed about the Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, and now we are going to see about this Namibia. And this Namibia is the southwestern country of the Africa. Southwestern country of the Africa with its capital Windhoek. And its official language is English, and it is bordered by Angola on its north, Zambia on its northeast, Botswana on its east, and South Africa on its south. And it has rivers like Cune, Okavango, and the Orange River. And the deserts included the Namib and the Kalahari deserts. And this Namibia hosts the world's richest marine diamond deposits. And this Namibia is a member of the United Nations, African Union, and the Commonwealth nations also.
So that's all for today. Thank you.